Magnetar Unlimited Prosperity broadcast, bringing you the news of the galactic co-prosperity sphere. Citizens of the GCPS, stay tuned for a new episode of the MUP broadcast. Listen carefully, work responsibly, earn prosperity.
So welcome to the Mantic Universe podcast, and today we are talking about Deadzone. This is Matthias speaking, your known host from the Warpath Epic podcast shorts, and I'm here with my good friend Claudio.
Hi everyone, I'm thrilled to be talking about Deadzone even more than usual.
And in this new series we are going into deep dive of all things Deadzone, as we know Deadzone is life.
Exactly. So this was something that really was missing from the MUP podcast and lineup. We have so many shows, but nothing dedicated really to rules or maybe a bit more specific to Deadzone. We have lore, we have overall things talking about the Warpath universe. So now it's time to shine for Deadzone.
So for all those interested, coming from Halo, coming from Warpath, or long-term Deadzone player, we cover all of your needs in the future.
Oh, we will try to, because there will be a lot.
So the reason we started around this time now is because there were several updates to Deadzone in the companion, and I was very curious what they're all about, so I asked Claudio to explain it to me. And therefore we jump right in and start with the new units the Marauders got. So what is this all about? We have a new unit called Commando Scrapers, or Scrappers. So what do I need to know about them?
So the Commando Scrappers is a new unit with actually 3 new profiles. We have the Engineer, the Grenadier, and the Breacher. And all of them, well, have a distinct role for the Marauders because they all have Dismantle and Hacker. So they are there to really destroy things or get into things, breach things, and use equipment. But still, even if they share the same profile, and also they got Scout, so they are up ahead on the battlefield, they are still 3 pretty different profiles on their own in the end.
Okay.
So
why do I need them in my Marauder Deadzone list?
Okay, first and for all, Commandos are always great. I think the 4-up survive for a low price point is really what makes them stand out. They fight on 5s, they shoot on 5s. That's not so great, but they survive so well for the points that you have a hard time, like if you're playing with 5-up shooting or fighting units, getting through them is a problem. But I mean, that's counting for all commandos. What's special about them is that they have, maybe we'll start with one unit, the Breacher. The Breacher is something between a normal commando and a brawler. He's still fighting on 5s, but has a big breaching axe with AP3 and Smash. So you're fighting on a less good profile, but if you don't add many extra die, it's about the same from hitting things. But with AP3 and Dismantle, you really have a shot at taking down the big things, being it Peacekeepers or especially armored vehicles.
So this is all the classic orc model we have missing, the one with the big axe going into meal and hurting a lot.
Yeah, so he's not a specialized, very good fighter like the brawlers, but he is there to, yeah, scrap things down with his big axe and maybe breach some bunker doors or something like that, or even striders. Then another interesting profile is the Grenadier. The Grenadier comes with a grenade, a thermobaric grenade, and a pistol. So this is the opposite to the Breacher. This is a purely ranged profile, still only shooting on 5s. But having this grenade, which is a frag 3 grenade. So it's an explosive, you toss it as a grenade. If it lands in the cube, you have to roll 1 success to hit, which is pretty usually doable with a 5-ups range stat. If not, it scatters, and then it's a frag 3. But having dismantle on the profile means that you will get the +1 damage against vehicles and constructs for the frag attack. So if you're stacking some marionettes there, you only need 1 success on the frag on 4-up, and the marionettes could be gone. So that's pretty impressive. And if you're really needing something else, you have a pistol. So if you need the clear shot, usually you will be throwing around those grenades because you just can. It's not a one use. But if you really need that clear shot, you have it lined up, you can still use the pistol and also that with dismantle. So for 50
Never
points,
underestimate the pistol.
No, pistols can really be great. And with Scout, you could get in a good position. And maybe with a Commando Sergeant, re-rolling a pistol shot with clear shot and height, re-rolling all 6 dice can be really deadly. So for 15 points and still being a troop, because all the Commando Scrappers are troops, even the Breacher, this is really interesting. So the Grenadier for 15 points is a troop choice with a frag 3 grenade and unlimited uses for this grenade. That's pretty good.
Okay. And last we have the Engineer with 2 plasma cutters that get some duelist vibes.
To be honest, it's the same weapon. The plasma cutter, the one is close combat range, and the other is used at range 1.
Yeah,
So
I'm still thinking about of having it 2 weapons, one for close and one for shooting. You know,
well,
so like
it's
the real.
It's a 3D print. So if you'd like, and if you have a printer yourself, you could mirror it and really go nuts and having 2 plasma cutters, one in cutters in every hand. So totally doable. What's interesting there, it's a very low range it burns weapon. So the plasma cutter is with range 1, AP 1, and it burns. So you really need to use that Scout and maybe extra move die to get there. But then it could hurt with AP 1. So that's great. Usually you want to take a normal commando with Flamer that costs 11 points. But the Engineer for 12 points has a little less range on its Flamer, but with AP 1. On top of that, still Dismantle, Hacker, Scout. So Dismantle also applies on the It Burns AP 1 attack. That can be really deadly. And on the other hand, he can use the plasma cutter with AP 1 in close combat. It has the keyword Engineer that doesn't do anything in close combat. It's just for the profile, so it adds the Engineer keyword on top of that. And do you know what Engineer really does, Matthias?
No.
Okay.
I'm not that experienced in a game that I can recall everything at the moment. So
Perfect.
I like to have it the print out, you know, with all the rules down. That's my thing. So I don't need to remember everything.
Yeah, I think it's great to have the keywords on the printout. It's totally worth the companion subscription, and in my opinion, if you play Deadzone more or less regularly. But anyway, the Engineer keyword is interesting because most of the time it's about diffusing traps or booby traps. Because if you walk into a cube with a booby trap item or a trap item from your opponent, you end your action and you defuse it. So you don't explode, you don't get scattered away, and so on. It still ends your action or your activation, the whole activation, but it's better than being blown up and then ending its activation. So that's a nice little bonus there. And on top of that, you can take remote units, which the Marauders don't have. So maybe that's something for flair. Maybe it's for diffusing traps. Maybe it's future-proofing. I think we will see that.
Maybe all of them.
Maybe all of that.
It would have been weird to have a commando engineer not having the engineer keyword, but this is...
Yeah, exactly. And I think at 12 points, as I said, 1 point more than a normal commando with Flamer, still being a troop is really a good price point there.
Yeah. And you already mentioned it, these 3D prints, or better said, those new units are available in the Mantic Vault in the March 2025 file pack. If someone wants the models, and looking through the options we have, it should also be pretty feasible to convert them from the bits you have. Like a breacher, a two-handed axe, or a large breaching axe should be possible. A grenade heavy model should also be possible with the bits you have already from the commando sets, and the plasma cutters get creative and improvise. For everyone not having the vault but want to try out this unit, get crazy with conversions, ideas, and build your own as you like.
Yeah, I think the new bits are awesome. I've printed them and I had them in hand already, so they look really, really great. But if you're just looking to try it out or maybe don't have access now, I think kit bashing is a good idea. And I mean, Ronnie talked about it in an interview, that they want to expand the services for the 3D printing in the future, having more partners, having maybe even on their own site, like the bits or the models to be available to buy. So there's hope for those without a printer that the situation will get better. So
I also think that those things won't stay exclusive to the vault for long, and as Mantic goes on and see that demand is there, they will for sure make things available for everyone sooner than later. So we are looking forward to this one. But all those classics orc players out there know how to improvise the weapons, so shouldn't be a big problem in here.
Personally, I'm really happy that we've got this option, that we got new things out of the vault. I think it's refreshing. It's good for the game, even if it's behind the 3D printing lock, if you want, for now. But I'm looking forward for more profiles. And
maybe this also gets us some more community interaction, because for now, Deadzone is often a game you play at home or just with friends and not making contact with a wider community. So going out, reaching for a club with a 3D printer or expand to friends who have access to one might grow the community a little bit more, or at least tighten the connections when people need to speak to a wider range of clubs or people to get bits available. So might be a good thing. Let's see.
Especially with Halo making the rounds right now. So Mantic and Halo and the system are well known, I would say, right now in the tabletop world and communities. So then asking about Deadzone and more bits and new stuff is surely a good thing, and will maybe convert some of them to try out the OG version of the Halo engine, so the Deadzone engine in that case.
Yeah, maybe one of those niches, when you go out to a club asking for a printer, you might meet other people who are asking for Deadzone builds you haven't known play the game. So yeah, lots of possibilities here. So let's jump to the next update. Those were the Matsudan, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So, Claudia, what got the Matsudan new things here? I've seen they are available in the beta list in the companion.
Hey, everybody, this is Mike Rossi, Wingasar's second best dwarf author, and you're listening to the Mantic Universe Podcast.
Exactly. So the Matsudan have now for a year, I think, are in beta as their full faction with pretty nice new releases from last year, and this is the first update to them. They are still in beta. This is also a beta release. They got 3 new units or upgrades to units, and all are very close combat focused and tanky. So
tanky is always
works.
A good thing.
It's always a good thing because, I mean, Matsudan are known for being mediocre for their damage output, but extremely tanky and honorable. And now we got 3 more Matsudan units who can also pack a punch. So that's maybe new, but also only pack a punch in close combat. So not a single ranged weapon inside for these upgrades. Okay, let's have a look at the Diashi, I think. That would be the first one. The Diashi is part of the Matsudan.
Is it Diashi or Daishi?
Oh, that's a good question.
So if there's anyone out there listening to this podcast knowing the right Asian or whatever language, I mean, saying Asian, I think it's Japanese theme.
It's Japanese,
sorry about that. So anyone knowing the right Japanese pronunciation of that unit, please tell us. I know we are known for struggling with pronunciation, but please, instead of complaining, tell us the right version.
Yeah, maybe someone is a judo master and knows how that works, because Diashi, I will call it Diashi from now on because I hope it's right, is a judo technique that is used to throw someone, like to go at their feet and throw them on the ground. So it's more of maybe a defensive technique. So that's why it's really fitting the profile, because this is more of our defensive really profiles. Because in the end, the Diashi is some kind of version of the Sekiwake we have in the Matsudan profile. So shares the same profile, but exchanges one weapon. So the Shock Maul that gives smash and leaves a hand open for the hacker is exchanged for one-hander and a Tidate, so a shield and a sword and board combination. And this combination gives you AP1, and you gain Defender Shield and Under Control. So, losing the extra die but gaining AP. You're not fighting or winning fights as well as the Sekiwake, but you can take a hit even better because you now get Armor 2 for yourself and +1 armor for every other size 1 and size 2 model, and you still hit with AP1. So against armored targets, it can be quite deadly too. And what I think is really a good use for the Diashi is also in a list with the Bloodhounds. So if you take the Matsuyamori Bloodhounds, those have Rampage and don't have any armor. So putting a Diashi into the same cube, who also wants to get into the enemy lines quickly, you not only give the Bloodhounds a shield which may help them survive and maybe even evade, but even if they get hit and get wounded, the Rampage won't trigger because the Diashi is standing there with his shield and reminding the Hound who is his master. So that's a quite little extra. It's not game breaking, but it's a nice little addition, because before only the Haniwa duelists had under control. Now we have more options for that.
Yeah, having option is always a very good thing. So this is a specialist?
Yeah. So it comes at a cost. Right now, 3 points more than the Sekiwake, and not a troop anymore, but a specialist, and even 2 VPs opposed to the 1 VP from the Sekiwake. So you're paying for that, but it's still an armor 2, 4 up survive, 3 HP beast that is solid. So yeah, for 18 points, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Sounds okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would take one.
You could even use it as a linebacker, having the defender shield to shield other units, to give the armor to other units, and then only go aggressive against close combat armies that get too close. Maybe, shielding your Haniwa sniper or another Matsudan. That could be great. I mean, shielding a living legend, so shielding Otasora, who already has 2 armor and an iron cannon, that could be great. I mean, you're standing around doing nothing with the Deashi, but I mean, an armor 3 Otasora sounds really mean. But we have another defender shield option, the one that is more the aggressive option. So we have the Inashi. I think that's one of the coolest models, the normal Inashi already, with the dual blades. And that was already a specialist. Now we have the first weapon option. And that's also the light blade Entidate. So he also gets a shield, but has still one of the 2 light blades. So it's a bit of the heavier version than the one that Deashi is using.
This is something for everyone who is like me and broke the second sword several times already. It's now a good point to replace it with a shield. And
yeah, well, perfect. That was planned. The plan,
yeah.
all
always
along.
the plan.
Yes. So, I mean, the Inashi already is an armor 2 model. Fighting on force, surviving on force. Again, 3 HP as every Matsudan. And now he exchanges his Frenzy 1 for a defender shield and under control. So again, not as killy. Still AP2, but with a 3 armor and a 4 up survive. Everyone who fought Peacekeeper defenders, Peacekeepers with defender shields, knows how that feels. That's pretty rough. But again, comes with a cost. 1 more VPs, so 3 VPs for this one, and 26 points, so 2 points more for less of a frenzy. And losing the frenzy could even hurt you, because, as I said, with the Sekiwake, having an extra die or a reroll also helps you win fights, so you don't get wounded so often because you're the one who's winning, maybe with the reroll. So maybe against AP3 things, you're even less survivable, but yeah, there aren't as many AP3 close combat units out there, so I think it's
outside
also
the new Maruda unit we already talked about. So
yeah, exactly.
Be careful. Still.
So the Inashi with the shield, a second option. And I mean, you could also run 2 Inashis together. I've done that, I think, in one of my last games, having one dual light blade Inashi in the same cube as the light blade Entidate Inashi. You have 2 armor 3 Inashis. That's crazy. And something you have to keep in mind, though, is every Matsudan is size 2. So those defender shields usually will only be a benefit for 1 or maximum 2 other of your units. So it's maybe not too crazy at that point.
Third unit that was added additional bike upgrades. Am I right?
Yes, and this time even a completely new profile for that. So the bike upgrades are a lance, different arms. So these are the arms from the old, or like the armor looks like the old resin Matsudan. So a bit bigger shoulder pads. And besides that really impressive iron lance the Mazzodan assault grav bike is carrying, it exchanges its option for a ranged weapon with an energy shield. So again, as I stated at the beginning, no ranged weapon for the Mazzodan upgrades. Instead of the ones the normal grav bikes have, they have the twin iron rifles and iron repeater. This one gets an energy shield too, to be even more tanky. And
okay, so we have now, this is like the classical cavalry knight.
yeah, and I think it's just fitting for an army that is honorable, having a Mazzodan riding a big bike into battle to maybe challenge those kaijus from their old home planet with the Iron Lance, which has AP3, and the bikes fight on force. So there's not much that can withstand a charge from this grav bike, because having size 3, fighting on force, having a speed of 1.3, you could get the charge in. Most of the times you're bigger, so you get 5 dice on 4 up with AP3. That's nasty. So, and I like the idea of them like having the role of being the big beast hunters riding on their cavalry bikes.
Yeah, I mean, the model looks awesome, so yeah, it's a good reason to bring one. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, I like it more than the other grav bike. It's I don't know. I'm not sure. The grav bikes are good, but those, how to say, speedy ranged weapons only things are not mine. So if I want to have a more speed or like a bike thing, that one going in meal, that's really that's more of my style. So I'm really happy about that upgrade. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know what you want from this unit. You hunt the big things. It costs 29 points. It's really resilient. It has armor 2, survival 4, energy shield 2, and resilient. So it really can take a punch, and you get where you want to get with that thing. Whereas the other Mazzodan grav bikes are more of hit and run units that you may play a bit more strategically. This can really be
they can
your
hurt
breaker.
more from afar, but also are easier to get down. So yeah, but this model is the lack of shooting is really good compensated with the higher defense. So,
And Mazzodan are lacking speed, really. So because I mean they are tanky and they have pretty much all around AP, or the Hanivas who can deliver with the no AP but reroll weapons on 5-ups. So they aren't really as killy, they are really, really tanky, but this unit has the speed the others are lacking and is still tanky and killy. So it's a really good all-around unit.
And the models were available in the April vault back from 2025, and I think it should, I mean, for me, for sure, but in general, you also should be able to improvise those models if you don't have the Vault or 3D print, because adding any kind of shield to an existing Inashi model, especially if you have already broken the sword, should be no problem at all. And the Mazzodan grav bike, if you have the other grav bikes already, adding a lens or some kind of meal equipment and removing the guns shouldn't also be that hard. I think the only one, a little bit of tricky might be the Diashi upgrade, because for the regular plastic Mazzodan you don't have the meal weapons and the shield, but you could improvise those with the available from the marionettes and taking the swords out there to put it on. It guess need some cutting involved to cut off the plastic weapons from the arms and things like that. But there are those one-handed parts in there that could be used, and using the resin blades from the marionettes would be a good option here. So yeah, if you don't have access to the vault or don't know anyone with a printer, yeah, improvise, adapt, overcome.
And they are fun to play. It's really adding to this slow, menacing play style, going for objectives, and being hard to kill, hard to shift, especially with all the solid units. I mean, honorable is still a big disadvantage, but having those shields in there.
That's your opinion. Honor is never a disadvantage. I mean, I like the Matsudan as they are now. I mean, I have started. I really liked them when they first came out with just the resin box already.
Yeah.
And I got way too many resin models for what I really need, simply because there were nothing else available, and they wanted to have a full force. And
I feel you.
Got the Dreadball team just to have different base models for conversions to put the weapons on, like the original resin box. Got the options for having the two ranged weapons, or you got one ranged weapon left when you build it. So I bought the Dreadball team just to have another body to get that weapon on, just to having more options. And now that we have the plastic box out, this is really great. So my Matsudan are already a heavy converted, kit bashed team, and now just having more options to get crazy with modeling is I really like those things. And you get, okay, I'm long enough in the hobby to have a crazy large bits box to find anything I need there anyway. So don't have me as a standard for things like that, but it's a reasonable small upgrade that you can find and improvise things like that. So
yeah. And it shakes up the gameplay quite a bit for being such a little upgrade on the models themselves. And I really like, even as the Deashi, it's just a shield and another sword for the plastic sprue, and it just looks different, and it's great. And about the resin things, I was glad that the Matsudan were added back then in second edition. I think they were something completely cool and new, and especially for the Assyrians. But I didn't play. Assyrians were one of the few factions I really didn't play, so I didn't get them. But when I was tasked for writing the rules and, doing the Matsudan in the end, I bought 2 of the resin boxes just to get proper models for playtesting and thinking around what we could do. And I just got the plastic sprues a few weeks ago, and they are great. So now I have really enough, also with the new model of the Osancho Predator that got armored. You can still buy the old one, the more fantasy one, but if you have access to a 3D printer in this month of the Matsudan, you also get a new sculpt for the Osancho Predator with cyber armor on it. It's looking really dope.
Yeah, I mean, cyber dinosaurs are never a bad thing. So it's really it's a crazy model. I'm not sure what to think of it. I kind of like it, but then it looks still strange from a bit. It's like I want it, but I won't use it. So it's like this is something I just have in the back for my team to put it on the shelf to see. This is like the crazy cyber dinosaur. I also have to say, like, with the missing bits or parts a little bit in the beginning, there's a bit shop from Poland to make resin upgrade bits for 32 or 28 mil sci-fi models, and they have also some Japanese and Chinese stuff themed bits around, And for my marionettes for the Matsudan, because originally there were not a wide model range available, and if you wanted to field a full Matsudan army, you still had to use the Asterian marionettes just to get bodies on the table. And I bought some Saiba Ashigaru heads to replace the original marionettes heads. So they have this robotic Japanese look now with them. So there are a lot of options out there if you want to go crazy with the Matsudan in model building and make it even more themed than it already is. So
That's a cool addition, yeah. I've painted my my marionettes in a bit of a terracotta style, a bit lighter than that, because of the name. So the Hanivas were like ritualistic statuettes used in early Japanese, I think medieval history, if I recall it correctly. So I wanted to capture that look, especially then with the katanas and the blades that they have. So I had my own
idea,
thing.
yeah.
Without going the like science fiction route you took with the other hats, I took the more, how retro maybe old timey approach with my paint job.
Nostalgia approach, and
Yeah,
it's like the no school like old school.
The Mantic Universe Podcast. So much universe, so little time.
Great. So let's move to the last faction upgrade. This was for the Plague. We got some interesting unit, I would say. So, Claudio, what was your thought behind those?
So the thing is, the stage 3As, unfortunately, they are, not unfortunately, the stage 3As are a key component to the Plague. They are the normal line troops. There are many of them, and they are crucial for the plans of the Plague, to get off world and so on, to use technology. But in Deadzone, they are mostly overshadowed by the Plague Hounds, or maybe zombies if you go cheaper, or if you go bigger from the stage 2A. So you don't often see stage 3As around, because they only fight on 5s, they shoot on 6s. I like the profile because fast, getting high clear shots, rapid fire is great, but in the end, not so many 3As aside maybe from mortars and HMGs. So now we got a few more aggressive stage 3As, which is great. And we got, I think, 5 new profiles. 3 of them in the stage 3A Ghoul profile, my 3 entries in the stage 3A Ghoul profile.
This Ghoul entry got another 3 profiles.
Yes,
added?
3.
Yeah,
3. Yeah,
3. Okay.
Entries profile,
Yeah. So for everyone to now find the option, because I was trying, there are new profiles inside the Ghoul entry for stage 3As. So.
Yes, that's the thing. So 3 new. Let's start with them before we talk about the others and get confused.
To get everyone
completely
more confused.
So we got 2 new troops and 1 new specialist. And the first troop is close combat orientated stage 3A Ghoul with a pistol and a metal bar. So it's 1 point more expensive than the rifle version, but only has a pistol with range 3 and no rapid fire, which hurts, but gets a close combat weapon with knockback. So these aren't really ones that you use to kill things, For that you may be taking the dogs or even the other ghouls who are 1 point less, but having a knockback option and still a pistol is great for objective chasers. You can run on the objective, stand there, shoot with your pistol because you're usually up the board already, and if something is on the objective or already, or if something charges you and it's not a big melee monster, you can knock it back and hold the objective. So this one is maybe a bit more of a niche case use, but could could really be useful if used right. It's a nice tool to have, let's say it that way. It's not a must-have, but its occasional use can be really helpful.
So for everyone who always wanted a meal-focused ghoul troop choice, now we have one.
Yeah, it's still fighting with 5s, but hey, it's cheap. It's cheap and it's fast for 9 points. That's great.
Still a ghoul.
Yeah, still a ghoul. And has hacker, so even running around getting intel is also worth. And if you don't like the, more tactical approach, going for objectives, playing smart, you can just take the other troop option. For 3 more points, you get the one with the vicious two-hander. So that one packs a bit of a punch. It gets AP 1 and smash on top. So that's really a good deal for 3 points. You're losing your ranged weapon, you don't have the knockback, but smash and AP 1, you can hurt things with that. The first time really that a ghoul can really, really hurt in close combat.
So be careful now.
Yeah, it still fights at 5s, so the smash isn't that big of a deal, but I mean, without adding extra dice, a smash 1 with a 5-up fight stat is as good as a 4-up fight stat. It gets worse if you add more dice, but still, if you compare it to something like a Stalker, really
so
speedy.
The right choice for a nasty surprise where I don't expect one.
Yeah. And for 12 points, being a troop is still really, really cheap. So I think this will be an option you may be seeing a bit more often for those points. If you don't really want to take a stage 2 and the normal ghoul isn't doing it for you, or the dog, you take this one, even with AP. And especially AP isn't something that is seen that often in the Plague. So having access to a cheap AP option, I think, really closes a gap that was there already.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only ghoul that got AP, if I recall correctly. And so, yeah, I think one of the few troop choices they have with AP.
I think maybe
or
even
is this the only
one. The zombies don't have one, hellhounds don't have one, leapers don't have one. That's it. So it's the first and the only troop choice with AP, being it ranged or close combat. So that's really something new.
So there's that.
I think that's great. But there is a third entry, which is a bit more special, I'd say. The stage 3A ghoul for 1 point more and being a specialist, so 13 points, 1 VP still specialist, is one with a pox bomb. A new kind of weapon we've not seen before. It's a range 2, 1-use grenade, frag 2, gas cloud, toxic 1. So
that sounds complicated.
Yes, it's a bit complicated, but in the end, it has many things going on. So you use it, as I've already explained, with your scrappers. You use it with the grenade, so you lob it in there. You're only hitting on 6s, so there might be a chance you're not hitting the cube you want to. That's always something. And it's only 1 use, so you only get 1. But if it hits, it really hurts. Because you place a toxic smoke, a gas cloud, with toxic 1 in the cube you're hitting. And then you resolve the frag 2 attack, which hits or wounds on 4s. And if the model standing in there isn't a construct, it will receive an extra wound, if wounded. And with frag 2, having 2 successes on 4 up might be possible with toxic 1 on top. If the other model is only surviving, or the cube only surviving maybe 1 hit, they could die instantly, and you get the smoke screen, which a close combat army like the Plague really, really like. So that's a great unit for 13 points. Yeah. It's not only supporting your things, because then again it's also pinning. So it's good for your close combat units. It does damage, and it makes a smoke screen. So 3 in 1.
So be careful when you use it, as it's only a 1-use weapon. And the other weapon is just a close combat weapon with nothing special. It's an engineer again, so...
Yeah, again, the same.
Now I think I remember, I know what it's doing, so
Again, we don't have any remote units in the list, in the plague list, so it's only the effect that you can disarm traps and booby traps for now. It still has hacker because all stage 3A ghouls have hacker, so it's great for running around. You want to get in there. It's only range 2, but you can sprint and maybe use a shoot die if you have one for a 5 cube threat radius with your pox bomb, and then afterwards you're just running for objectives, items, and so on. So great unit. It's still not expensive, but it's a specialist, and having a built-in smoke with toxic and frag for 13 points. That's good.
It's a special use case specialist. So
yeah, it's again something a bit like the first school with the metal bar. That's something that maybe
it adds options. It's now you have options. If anyone ever wanted to run a full ghoul team, now you have enough options to make a wide viral.
Exactly.
To get variation.
Even more so with the next two profiles, because they add even more stage 3A killing and fighting power. Let's see. The next one would be the Blitzer stage 3A monocycle. This one is a bit like the Engineer. He uses also the same pox bomb, but on a 2-5 speed, and has Frenzy 1 in close combat. For 14 points, so only 1 point more than the Pox Bomb Engineer's Ghoul, this one can also fight and is even faster. For 2-5, you could drive up 5 cubes, use a shoot die, and throw your Pox Bomb 2 cubes. So over the whole board. That's some serious first strikes you can do there. And then if you get attacked, you can still fight on 5s with Frenzy 1.
Yeah, so if you're feeling you don't have anything to fight with the other ghoul on the box bomb, now you have this one use weapon and combat chain. So it's an interesting choice. I mean, it's a fast one use weapon or something you can hold back to get crazy later on to move across the whole board and bomb someone off the objective.
Yeah, you can still. It's. I think what you have to keep in mind is that it's a bike, so you can't get height. So you can only move around on the ground level. For the grenade, for the pop bomb, it doesn't matter. But if you want to fight, you have to do it on the ground level. So that's maybe the biggest drawback this one has. But
that's why it's not that more expensive than the other ghoul.
Exactly. Yeah, with that speed in a already rather fast army, it would be too good otherwise. But some really some serious alpha strike potential there, knocking something even down from sniper towers or something like that in the first round, and smoking around in the
but you're still just hitting on 6s, so going full alpha strike, there's a good chance that you miss, that you won't hit your target, and then
you need a shoot die for it to happen too. So it's expensive, and then it's really a throwaway bike because it's in front of the enemy line and still only fights on 5s with Frenzy 1, so it won't survive.
It might be enough to get your opponent into panic mode to run around and stop to focus, and
more of a harassment unit, really.
Yeah, again, it's a nice option to have if you want to go crazy and try out something new. Yeah, but those monobikes all of them look great, so it's a good one to have this.
The last one really is, again, maybe something more of your taste, a bit more straightforward, still with a twist, but here we have the damage dealing stage 3A Crusher. So this one, again, range set of 6 up, but now that's the really trained ghoul, not only the mutated muscle ghoul that still can't fight, but this one is more of a trained, maybe veteran or soldier. This one fights on 4 ups and has a defender shield. So an armored stage 3A, at least 1 armor through the defender shield, and has
Now
a
it gets
single
nasty.
weapon. Yeah, and has a single weapon, the Energy Flail, a close combat weapon with AP2, no keywords. We already spoke about the lack of AP in the list overall. We have maybe Plague Swarms for specialists. This is also a specialist, and the really big things. But in the lower price range, you don't have anything. This one changes that. Fighting on Force is decent. No frenzy, nothing else. But fighting on Force, if you get a body bonus, charge bonus, extra die, it adds up really quickly. And having AP2 is really, really a threat. Only giving away one VP is also a big bonus for 16 points. And the Defender Shield opens up some completely new plays for the Plague. Because Defender Shields work on size 1 and 2 models, not on 3 or 4 models. So no Terratons with the Defender Shield crushes in the same cube. At least it doesn't give them the armor bonus. But your stage 2s could be shielded by this crusher and get armor 2 on 4 up. And I think that's a really great combination. You could even use it with murder birds or other ghouls, but having a defender shield in there, that's just
murder
good.
birds. That's now it gets interesting.
Yeah, I think
I think Defender Shields are, this is a nice addition because this is it adds more. I say options too often, but it's like you now have really more choice in your gameplay as well, because it's like not going away from the big stuff in your typical Plague list or going full meal in close combat or a full ghoul army with some birds. It's that's now an interesting way to play and even catch your opponent off guard if you don't expect something like this.
Yeah. And if you really want the specialist that tears through armor, you still take the Plague Swarm that fights on 3 up and AP2. I mean, it's not as fast as the Crusher, but it fights better. But the Crusher has more use cases with the Defender Shield. Again, if you're moving 2-3, you can get the Defender Shield where you really need it. And having an AP2 for 16 points is really something. If you're taking a really armored list, the Plague can struggle, and having those in here is a good choice. I think for 16 points, they're not that killy, because again, no extra size, no frenzy. So against unarmored things, the stage 2A is still better than the Crusher, and it already has built-in armor and a better survive. So the Crusher isn't just better than the Leaper, the 2A Leaper. It's really different. Completely other use case, even if they are at the same price point.
This is always the tricky question when we have new models added or new units with new options is, why should I take that one instead of what's already there? What is the addition to an army list or to a faction that wasn't there before? Or why should I take that model instead of the other one outside that it being cheaper? So it's really just you have the options, because the Leaper by itself might be better, but for so into question marks for team play or whatever team play Blake might have, the Crusher is now an option.
I mean, the Plague is one of the team playest factions ever. They have zombies with Horde, so if that's not team play, I don't know. So,
yeah, well, it depends on the definition of team play, but this is how it's getting. So I think everyone on his own, but yeah, it's a tricky one. But it's now it gets a different feeling in there if you have a unit with Defender Shield in there. Also with the other new ghoul options. It makes a ghoul army now now something you want to play, and even the new additions are in general of all the new updates that we have now. You are much more flexible now with building your list. With all these new units, you have the chance that not everyone is now taking the same list, because this is one problem that we often have is when there are not enough choice. that people tend to copy and paste what others take. My Deadzone is in a very good place. Everything is in good balance. So there is no
Well,
net
there
list
are a
building.
few things that need
I mean,
balancing.
there are always a few things, and as
Yeah.
brokers, that's why we have better lists for Matsudan and things like that. But it's really like there is no one list that will win over everything else out there, and you really can take the units you like. And if you now want to follow a theme, you have more choice in there. Like with the orc to go on a now more commando heavy those choices, or you want to build on grenades and go full crazy, you have now the options. For the Matsudan, going with close combat focus now, or an honorable knightly focus if you want to. And with the Blake, you can go now full ghoul and have the options for it.
Yeah, and I think let's have a look at the ghouls. If you take for 28 points, you can get a stage 3 ghoul with a vicious two-hander and a crusher, and they are running around together with a speed of 3, not needing any. You don't have to speed down because you don't have any ranged weapons, and both of them have AP. The one is fighting on 4s, the other is fighting on 5s with smash, and both have 1 armor if in the same cube. I mean, Defender Shield against frag weapons, it burns weapons, suppression weapons can also be a problem. But overall, it's a bargain for 28 points. The troop unlocking the specialist. I mean, I'm still a big fan of the Crusher together with the Leaper. I think they both are really good together, even if the Leaper is not as fast. If it's not climbing, because it only has agile, but a speed of 1-2. But the Crusher can really supplement the Leaper well. So it can make the Leaper better instead of taking away the spotlight. And the Leaper is also a troop, so unlocking the Crusher. So for 32 points, both of them can be a good team. And I think that's also, as you already mentioned, always a tricky point. New profiles, new things. They have to be interesting. They have to be good in a way, not too good, so that they are the auto takes now. They have to fill a new role most of the time, and in the army like the Plague that is completely melee orientated, that's hard to put in there more profiles that can only fight. But I think in this case, we have the sweet spot, I'd say, for finding some use cases like the metal bar pistol dude. You can use him. He won't be a stable in a list, but he is useful.
It's a style
the other
choice.
Two are something new. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the Pops Bomb or the other two close combat units add something that wasn't there without breaking the overall balance of the Plague. So that you don't, because if you give access to an army to everything, because you say, okay, this is missing, it's getting boring instead of interesting and maybe overpowered. But I think in this case, with the rather average fight profiles on the ghouls and the ghouls being average themselves, it's a good spot where they're in. And also, last point, then I'm quiet. I've just looked up. The Plague only had 5 troop choices before. So zombies, hellhounds, leapers, the ghoul with rifle, or the ghoul with flamethrower. That's not much of a choice. Now we got 2 new troops in addition to that, the two-hander and the metal bar one. So that's great. I mean, even from that perspective, you already said it, like same lists, but having more troop choices to unlock things, and fitting your playstyle, fitting the rest of your army, the specialist and support units, you can now tailor it more to your needs. And that's good.
So, and the models were added to the vault in the May 2025 package. And if I see that correctly, you got several options for the different unit. Like there are 4 different defender shields and 3 different flails. There are 2 different two-handed weapons. So it's not like this is really supposed to be taken more often, not just a single model in there, but you now have the options to build with model variety into a full ghoul army without the models being identical in here.
And
the
they
only
are
issue
cheaper,
I have with that thing, I think the box bomb is simply just a different looking grenade, if I see that correctly.
Yeah. It's not a vial of something. It's just I mean, you have the backpack with the grenades in there. Yeah, I mean, rather, normal.
I mean, you can make the model look different in that way, but it's I would have expected something, how to say, more crazy looking,
more poxy.
more poxy. Also for those models, if you don't have access to the vault, the 200 weapons might be something you can convert from the existing Plague models to a point. Pistols, anyway, the
There's a
monobikes.
pistol and a sword on this brew, actually, and there wasn't a profile for that. So you could also use this guy now if you're not using it for the general, and the general has a
for the bikers
awesome
you can
resin.
use the motorcycle or the other motorcycle and put some plastic ghouls on there for the conversion. Also grenades. As I'm a little bit disappointed about this box bomb, everyone out there, please go crazy with them. Build your crazy version of a box bomb, whatever you imagine it being is. It's a one-use weapon. It should look like one. And whatever boxy means to you, build it on the model.
Hey there, I'm Brian.
And I'm Rick.
From Deadzone the Podcast.
And you're listening to Mantic Universe Podcast.
For everything Mantic under the sun.
Yeah, and the crushers with the defender shields, I mean, the flails are a bit maybe harder to imagine, but you could always use something else, because if you have a defender shield, you know that's a crusher.
So defender shields are somewhere for all out in the enforcer box. So
I think they are a bit big.
Yeah, I mean, you need to cut them down to make them look to fit the Plague anyway. But if you have an enforcer player around you or have a frame around, you can use those to fit them on the models. Just damage them, cut them apart, and glue them on the arms, or use any other plastic card bits or things like that.
Or even the riot troopers, the GCPS riot troopers, they come with defender shields.
Yeah, right, they would work as
and
well.
And they're extra bits, so you could
might
them
also
as
use
normal GCPS.
Some parts from the terrain set to go on the arms as shield, because Plague uses things that are around anyway.
I just got an idea because of that. There are the dead and mutilated GCPS trooper in the plastic Plague vehicles, like for the mule or the hornet. So you could stick.
You can use one of those. Yeah.
Just having a living shield. That's also really plaguey. In one hand.
Yeah, that sounds
actually,
great. And I think I have some of those still around because I didn't put them on my vehicles. Yeah.
So
now we are getting to something.
So, and you could maybe even use one of the heads as a pox bomb if you want. So maybe put some dynamite stick.
That's more like a box bomb when I think about that thing.
Put a dynamite stick in a head.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a bit too gruesome to for such a release.
Yeah, please.
But hey.
If you play with your kids, please stay kid friendly with your model conversions out there.
With your Plague conversions.
You don't get nightmares for the kids anyway.
So the
but for everyone who is already above
take
18,
responsibility.
Yeah. Parental advisory.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
Maybe we should talk about some.
So all those crazy things. Now, we now need to talk. The real big question now is around. We got new updates through the vault for Deadzone. So is it a question? Are we going? Do you think we are going close to a new edition now, or is it just going to a bigger update, because I think also the Forge Fathers got a upgrade in the vault, but no new profiles yet. And do I miss any other upgrade in the vault?
GCPS didn't get. They got the flavor upgrades, but they also got swords and the gauntlets. So,
okay. Yeah, because when I'm looking through the vault, there's always a little bit tricky, because usually we just get things that are previously released in Resin or in certain boxes as upgrades in the vault, or to print them on our own. And so I really miss if I'm not looking really closely and compare stuff together, I missed it, because this was the GCPS got it in February already. So they have new parts there, but
they have
no
new parts
rules yet.
Exactly. So the Marauders were the first ones with new rules, and after that, the other new editions got rules. The first two flavor bit releases from the Forge Fathers and GCPS didn't get any. So there might be a chance that they will get it, later, because it's not the month where they were released. So there could be a good chance. I mean, it's fitting the others. We have now 2 engineer profiles for Plague and for the commandos for the Marauders. And we have an engineer or more engineer bits in the Forge Fathers. So who knows? Maybe there's
there will be an update. That's why I missed it, I think, because this was already in December, and I was just thinking these are the standard upgrades, because I now got the Dorogrim upgrade there, the veteran upgrades there, and there's the repair crew upgrade, which got some new bits in there that definitely need some rules. They look fancy, they look cool.
Yeah.
And one thing we also got in there, we get with all those new vault upgrades for the faction, some flavor parts, like additional hands that carry non-weaponry stuff, just to individualize your models to get kit bashed. It's a very nice one.
I love
always
that.
Additional heads. So if you complain about the lack of the heads for your models from the plastic boxes, we now get them as a bits, and hopefully soon as a print-on-demand service, either from Mantic themselves or from other shops.
I think there is enough demand there. Even make yourself vocal, spread the word that you want that. Be kind, be
always,
friendly when doing
everyone
that.
is listening to valid criticism, but don't use slurs or get crazy or anything. It's like,
and I mean. Mantic are on a path with the 3D printing, and they're trying new things, and that's great. And I know that it must feel like you're being left out if you don't have a 3D printer with the themed lists from last year with these bits. But I hope and I think that Mantic is on its way, and they know that, and that they will have the availability a bit better over the next months.
I mean,
and
they are still a smaller UK company, so they have to focus on the UK, of course, which is like we on the continent are a little bit different here, but yeah, I'm an old school wargamer, so I know how to improvise and kit bash things, but I always like new bits also. So, and going out there are clubs around who have a printer. There are maybe friends around who have a printer, and just kindly ask them, buy your bag, ask them to print it for you. Shouldn't be an issue. So it's not easy, we know that, but it's possible. And if you don't have a printer, no access to it, and don't want resin printed bits at all, it's still the possibility to go crazy with the plastic conversion, because it's your game. Do what you want, do what you like.
It's also fun,
Yeah. And so because you never can have enough draws, I'm really looking forward to see if we get an upgrade there sooner. I hope sooner than later. Okay, I play too many factions anyway, but it's
coming back to your initial question, it's a bit hard for me to answer if we're getting a new edition or what, that I have to speculate, or an upgrade, because frankly I know what's going on, but I
Of
can
course
tell
you
it
know.
right
That's
now.
why I'm asking you. I know that you cannot talk about it or not too much. It's like, but if I would ask, if I would put the question into the room and say,
Yeah.
do you have the feeling we need a new edition now or later? Because from my point of view, I don't really need a new edition now.
That's my
I would
feeling too.
like to see an upgrade, like a new, maybe new printed book to put all those new units and upgrades into a printed form for those who like books, because it's always something different to build your lists in the companion and print them out to just having a book where everything is in there, look through your options and things like that. So reading a book is always different, and as an old school wargamer, I prefer the book just to go through what's new and stuff. So maybe a new printed book with the new upgrade once or everything is out would be nice to have, which technically speaking is a new edition as it's a new print run of the book, but
well, it depends. I mean, we have the force list and the rule book as two separate books, and we had something like the escalation upgrades and fixation in the last edition, and they were like updates and not new editions. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
Deadzone right now.
Those were nice books. So it also would be cool to have the solo play rules again in a new printed book. So this might be a good option to add or refine the old solo play rules.
Yeah, I love them. Actually,
they are also. Sorry.
No, you don't.
No, what I just put at that, the old solo play rules were also nice as a third-party player when you play together to add some cooperation elements in there. Because we have this Forge Fathers fighting GCPS, and then Plague Zombies start to get out and scramble around. There was also the old AI deck, so the first edition.
The real old one. That's
the real old one.
I still have it. I thought about converting it at some point, but for me it wasn't worth it.
It's a tricky one. It's a nice to have thing. So I liked it to. It's a tricky thing because it was something cool to have. Just to have the option. So if you play together or want a cooperative game or a solo play game and have this AI deck, it only really worked because everyone else used cards as well. So the second edition solo play rules were a little bit better, but it's just really it was just cool to have. So, but some upgrade for third edition in solo play rules or cooperative game mode is missing. So this would be a good chance to add something like this together with all the new units into an escalation kind book or booklet. Maybe.
As someone who is nearly only playtesting things for years now, I'd say having something, because you said it's so nice to flick through a book and then making army lists. I can't wait to use only the companion and nothing else. Because I'm using so often for playtesting. I have my printed out lists or updates for points or something else, and I'm just writing down what changed and doing the army list, and I'm just looking forward to doing it.
I mean,
on the app, on the run. Easy peasy.
The companion is nice if you are focused, which I'm not, and it's how to say it. It's easier in a book if you just want to have a quick look what else is available or what other factions have to skip through a book than clicking around in the companion. If you are focused, building your list, looking for specific rules, the companion, of course, is much better. And there's also the problem that the printed book is more or less outdated the moment it got released. Because there might be print errors there. Points might change soon after because a mistake was made. And
I mean,
mistakes can always be made.
Good point. Yeah,
so,
with the
it's still,
change of pace.
it's still nice to have. So because not everyone is always up to date. Not everyone is a fast player. Not everyone plays twice or 3 times a week. But if you just like, it's a nice.
Oh, I wish I would.
Of course, you are not everyone.
Yeah, I'm not playing. I'm not even playing 2 or 3 times a month. I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes yes, sometimes not. So
No,
it's also,
I mean
it also depends.
Deadzone is really this nice game that you have around for playing once in a while, and so you don't need always follow all the updates and have everything nice to have because you buy the book, and what can happen is that you just keep playing the things you have, and the printed ones are nice to have for you because you don't need everything always up to date. For those who play more regularly or play more often, always want to have the newest stuff, the companion is the way to go. So it would be nice to have options for both people.
I mean, with a vault, if we get updates like these in the future, it's hard to update a book. With the companion, it's rather easy.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. Then again, before these newer Vault releases, we had the updates for the Forge Fathers, and especially the updates for the Marauders, who got new units, the Ripper Warlord, the Goblin Weapon Team, new profiles for the Skyscrapers. They went into the Errata and the Companion. So there has, if you look back, there has happened quite a bit since the launch. I mean, the launch of 3rd edition is now 3 years ago?
Is it already 3 years?
Is it already 3 years? I should know.
Yeah, you should. Because I'm not good with those things anyway, because...
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean,
I'm too old now to keep years apart,
I just
so
wanted to say
I'm
the
thinking
same.
in decades.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I think it's around that. Maybe 22. Oh, well, someone will know, or until then, I think we will know better. But it's been a while. It's been a while now. Maybe it's even 2021. Anyway, it's been a while since 3rd edition came out, but I still think 3rd edition is going strong. It needs a balance update. There are a few units that are maybe too good in the list or too good altogether. So they need to be addressed at some point. And I think there were a few mentions that there is something on the horizon. So not too far away from now. And
3rd edition release was October 25th, 2021.
Okay, 2021. So 3.5 years, maybe even 4 years now. Oh my God! And you said it's less than three years, maybe.
Yeah. So
okay,
that's
time flies.
Okay, just.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
that aligns with my playtesting years a bit better then.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean the thing is, so something may is coming, should come, might come. I don't know. Also, the one outstanding thing that we are still missing is what's going on with the reps.
Yeah.
We had this awesome new website teaser last year. Was it last year? Or was it 2 years ago? I'm not sure now.
You mean the summer campaign?
Yeah.
The summer campaign was last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least in
You
this
got that
case,
right.
I'm on time. So there should be something going on there in the back. Maybe we are waiting.
Yeah.
We were promised new plastic frame.
I mean,
autumn last year.
If we are a bit nitpicky, I think the social goal isn't achieved yet, but also I think Mantic has many projects and things on the plate. So
yeah, they have always too many projects on the go.
I think everyone knows the reps should.
I mean,
should
it would just, from my point of view, it's completely personally thinking and egoistic. It would be nice to have the reps out by the time Epic Warpath is released.
Well, Epic Warpath is released in
June,
yeah.
July. I mean, the Epic Warpath release is spread out.
Yeah.
Kickstarter bakers get it early. Then is the first 4-faction official release. Then sometime later the next the STL or Racine release with the support packs. Then the next 4-faction. So this will take summer to autumn until Epic Warpath is fully released. But it's just nice to have, like when the small scale comes out, that something else is coming for those who are not going the small scales but still want to see something.
But maybe you
for
should
Warpath Universe Deadzone. So maybe.
You could argue that but that the Warpath or science fiction universe should be spread out then. So I think that could also be a case to say, okay, let's make Epic Warpath, and then if that hits the shelves and so on, we give something else for the science fiction players. But well, I think
the big question now is now that we get new renders or dedicated render models made for Epic Warpath, have they already planned ahead to get plastic nameless models for Deadzone? Because when they're already working on new models in one game, how much work is it to parallel make new models for another game?
I mean, that would be great. I mean, especially Firefight players, I think, would be glad about that, because we at least have the nameless as a faction. Firefight don't have them, and then they are in Epic, so I hope that nameless will also get something. But I think there we have the problem. We only got 2 completely new army releases with new plastic sprues last year, and that's great. Assyrians, the Cyphers, were also... it was time for them to get new models. So let's see what's next. Personally, I hope, even if I really like Nameless, I hope the reps, because the reps are just not there, and that's a shame. They were at the beginning of 3rd edition, and now over the last 4 years or 3.5 years, were phased out a bit, and it's time for their big return. And it was hinted. I mean, they were one of the big factions in the Tertia Prime summer campaign. They also won together with the Nameless, but also in the background there was a focus on them. So I'm pretty sure. Really
reps
sure
are the perfect
Mantic
faction for Deadzone, because that's the game size they really shine in, to have every single model from a different alien race. And things like that, and go crazy with conversions and really build it up. I mean, originally it was a PVC release with limited model range.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, at the very beginning, I had some chats with Matt Gilbert on the old channels, and the reason why it didn't proceed forward is that they struggled a little bit with the plastic models to make the sprue layout, because they don't want them to be just a human body with different alien heads.
Yeah.
Which I see why they didn't want to do it, because everyone out there is doing like that. You have your human body and a different looking head, and this is now your different alien race, and just make a plastic box with 10 bodies, put 20 different heads in there, and you have a wide combination of aliens, but they still look like humans or humanoid. And the very first reps you got were really going crazy with the possibilities of alien races. And I appreciate that they didn't want to lose that style by going the easy way. So I'm really looking forward what they have done with the frame, what options we get, and what aliens made it into plastic, and what we then get as Racine upgrade or as sprintable in the vault for them. Because now that they have the vault, because they started when... Sorry.
Over the years, the reps list and options grew so much. We have so many profiles or entries that only have one profile, or profiles that only have one entry. Well, the first, I think. So I think it's really hard, because you don't have like this one alien race and they have 4 weapon options or something like that. It's really rare. So I guess they have to to cut here and there maybe something or structure it a bit differently than they have done before. And
Yeah,
we
I mean,
don't.
you
we haven't
can go
seen
crazy.
any new reps in the vault,
Yeah.
right? You wanted to talk about the vaulted reps. We haven't seen
Yeah,
them.
no,
we
we haven't
seen the
seen
other Star
new
Saga
reps.
things.
Yeah, the old models were released in the vault. So
No, the Star Saga
models.
No, nothing.
No, we
Nothing.
got a new rep team. I think or is it a rep team? It's
No, we got the Tertia Revolutionaries.
yeah.
So
Those
the
are all
themed
new
list,
models.
yes, but we didn't get the Star Saga model. So we did get the Vote Chasers, for example. We got some parts from the Mason Labs things, but we never got any rep things, specifically rep things in the vault. The themed list are the Revolutionaries, so reps adjacent. But I think that's also an interesting point that, I mean, the digital files are there. So
Yeah, I mean from all their PVC models, no, not all the old ones, not, but the newer ones, or kind of new. It's still years past. They were already made digitally, so they should have
yep.
the renders available to release in resin if needed.
And the Tigrex. The Tigrex was released because the Overdrive things were released. So the Tigrex is available as, I think, the only real rep unit in the
I'm
vault.
just looking through the vault library now. If there are models I haven't seen. So the Tertia Revolutionaries is the one. Yeah, I think they are new. The others, the Iris contract are the Star Saga models.
But the Tertia ones were also recycled ones. Most of them from Dreadball or Star Saga.
Okay. Now I'm disappointed from myself because there's one model in there I don't really recognize from anyone. So maybe it's me.
In which one?
The mechanical
Tertia?
suit. Tertia
Yeah,
himself.
that's Lydia Brute Force Winger. That's a team captain in Dreadball.
Okay.
She was
So-
scaled
okay.
up for this one. She's bigger because she was rather tiny to fit on the hex base, so she was scaled up
okay.
quite a bit and fits on a 40mm base now.
Because all the other models are recognized, but not her. Because okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with all the second edition Dreadball teams. I was more familiar with the first
Shame
edition
on you.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's on me. Sorry.
Well, I know the models because, especially because they went scavenging and asking Clive, "Oh, can we have maybe this one model that would look nice in there?" So
Yeah, so
I've
okay.
been through the backlog of every Dreadball model out there.
Yeah, which is a good thing because I really like those Dreadball models. Like I said, I already bought the Matthias team just to get bodies for conversion. So despite them being PVC, I can work around that. But they are nice models for the most part, and also nice to work with. So it's good to see that they are back in there. Yeah, the upscaled model. Yeah, okay. Maybe because she's got bit and I didn't recognize it. So it's
Yeah.
but it's me. It's me
And I
getting
think,
old
this,
now.
This,
so this
this
is
model also is the original 3D render, whereas the Dreadball model is slightly different because I think they couldn't tool it that way with some parts. I think at the hammer or something like that.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I have the
this
original
is-
from the Dreadball Extreme Kickstarter, which isn't only tiny, but also you see that the tooling, they had to change something from the original render, and here we got the better version.
the
But
as
maybe
it should be
all the
version.
themed lists could also be an episode to go through them, not in detail because I think every list could
Maybe
be their own.
if people want it, please
Yeah.
leave a comment, write on the Discord, write it below YouTube, wherever you listen to us on Spotify. Leave a comment what you want to hear in future, if you should go through in detail through the themed list, or any other list or any other specific model you want to know more, let us know. We are here
Or
for you.
maybe
We
even a
answer your
tactic.
question.
Yeah, some things,
Yeah, if
maybe
you don't know how to
frequently-
play certain models,
Yeah.
I have the source here to ask the right questions. So
I mean, this was the first one because it just happens to be that it's the third release in the vault and the companion.
yeah, now it was the right
that was-
time and the right place. So
Exactly. So more things will happen in the future. We're always eager to hear your opinions, questions, and so on. We're open to anything because there's so much to discuss. We don't even know where to start. So,
so
always
give
good
us
to
a
hear
hint
from
what
the
you want to
community.
hear. So
Yeah.
and
And as always, you have already said it, Matthias. We have many options to contact us. You do it, use it, join us in the communities. So we have, like on Reddit, you could discuss Deadzone thing. You could discuss things on Facebook in the Deadzone group or the Mantic Universe group, Mantic Discord, Mantic Universe Podcast Discord, and so on. Something else you want to pitch in?
no,
Right now?
I'm fine. No, like this.
Comments?
So
Yeah.
comments on YouTube, comments. So for all those people, because Mantic games in general are very focused on Facebook for historical reasons, because there are other options to contact or to go in touch. There are Reddit groups for all the major games. Deadzone specific is Deadzone the Game on Reddit. We have the Kings of War forum, where you also, of course, can discuss the other Mantic's games. We have for the German users or German speakers the Tabletop World with a Deadzone subforum. We also have our Discord. There's the Mantic Fans Discord, the Mantic Universe Podcast Discord, and of course, for those still on Facebook, use the dedicated Facebook groups.
And I mean, it also helps to comment those questions for the algorithm gods on YouTube and maybe even Spotify, likes, subscribes, and so on. You know the drill. It's always the same, but it really helps us out to maybe get this to new people who maybe are new from Flashpoint or maybe Epic Warpath or something like that.
Yeah,
To
wherever you come from,
get it out.
if you know Deadzone, if you don't know it, look into it, play the game, have fun, and
It's the
Deadzone
best.
is life.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think we wrap it up here after shamelessly plugging our sites and so on. Thank you, Matthias. I think it was really great to talk to you. Sorry that I've talked so much.
No, that's the reason. I know that it wasn't you talking. I let you talk. I'm usually a talk active here, but it was nice to have you around and especially get my question answered on the new units. And it's always nice to have discussions about Deadzone with you. So we look forward to have
same.
more of that in future.
Awesome. So with that, so much universe, so little time, but Deadzone is short enough to get in a few games here and there. So perfect.
Yeah. So everyone have a nice time out there, and until the next time.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.